Namaste, namaste. Can you all hear me well? It's a little low, now it should be fine. It's good. Who wants to start? Huh? She wants to start? She wants to sing? Sing, okay, yes, yes, yes.
मेरे तो गिरिधर गोपाल दूसरा न कोई, मेरे तो गिरिधर गोपाल दूसरा न कोई, मेरे तो गिरिधर गोपाल दूसरा न कोई, मेरे तो गिरिधर गोपाल दूसरा न कोई। जाके सिर मोर मुकुट मेरो पति सोई, मेरे तो गिरिधर गोपाल दूसरा न कोई। असुवन जल सींच सींच प्रेम बेल बोई, अब तो बेल फैल गई आनंद फल होई, मेरे तो गिरिधर गोपाल दूसरो न कोई, मेरे तो गिरिधर गोपाल दूसरो न कोई, मेरे तो गिरिधर गोपाल दूसरो न कोई।
Okay, Muni wants to come. Aye? What happened? You want to come or no? Yeah. Just when I said, I was going to say, ask to unmute, it vanished. But now it's
Yeah,
fine.
I don't know what happened.
It's okay.
Thank you, Father.
Welcome, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. It's a while back, but Paula before nicely reminded me that some time ago I asked if I could check in with you more often, and you told me that to come every Friday, and I kind of forgot about it. So yeah, I just remembered that. So I just wanted to come like that.
Very good, very good.
Yeah.
Very good. So the question for you and for all of you actually is the path, the way apparent? Is it clear to you that in this way I can be with God, I can be with the self, the truth about myself, I can be empty of ignorance, empty of the false, because that is the second part of this journey together. The first part is to understand the importance of living our life for truth alone, for God alone. The second is once we determine to live our life in that way, in the world, we don't know how to live like that. So the immediate job of the external seeming master is to guide us to that in that process, saying that if you follow in this way, then your life can be lived in God's light, you can live in His presence, and or it may seem like an or to begin with, or you can live empty of the false and in the truth of what you are, the absolute reality of what you are. So, do you have the tools available to you, you feel, to guide you, to bring you back moment to moment into the truth? That is important because Maya will work moment to moment. In this moment, you may get a phone call and there may be a trick up its sleeve where you forget about God and you become involved in the world. You see? So, do you have the toolkit, the tools that you can apply, that you've tried to apply and maybe struggled to apply to make your life fully for the truth, to make your life fully for God? You see? And that is what I want to check with all of you, that that is when our spirituality becomes a living spirituality. So what are we doing? What is our attempt? Is it to be empty all the time and therefore to take yourself to be only the reality of what you are? Or is your attempt to be a bhakta and pray all the time and to dedicate your entire life to God? Or both? And that may change. So, you want to give me a report about that, something about that?
Thank you. Yeah, completely. For me, it's empty all the time. Yeah, or somehow it resonates more. And also, I feel it's beautiful to have this silent prayer and love. I don't know. I find it so sweet when I feel this love for God in me. It's like yeah, it's the sweetest. Yeah,
So, it is a
and
natural,
yeah, I'm trying to do it, Father, as
very good, very good. It is a natural way in which we can be empty, and initially we may be empty like this, but it's very natural for that empty like this to become empty like this. And I'm not really speaking just of the external posture, you see. The external posture doesn't have to change, but to be empty in this way, where the truth can shine through, and the truth always shines through in the presence of God, in the presence of the Atma within. So it is very natural for us to fall more and more in love with that presence, with the Atma within, while our emptiness continues. And that is how it becomes a quiet prayer, a prayer of the heart, where you may not be doing any of the outer expression, but you are aware for yourself that you are praying within your heart wordlessly while your head remains empty. And here the fruits of the prayer are the same for the Jnani and the Bhakta, which is to come to his light, to his presence, and in his light to recognize the ultimate reality of who we are. The only thing I want to also guide you all is to say that the path of remaining empty requires a little more vigilance than the path of constant prayer or chanting. You see, because the mind can quickly convince us that yes, I'm mostly empty. You see, whereas if you're praying all the time, if the endeavor is to pray all the time, then very quickly you can tell that you got distracted away from the prayer and went into the world, and you went away from a remembrance of God in your heart into focusing on the world outside. But that doesn't mean that I'm dissuading anyone from the path of being open and empty, the Gyan path, where intuitive insight can really flower very beautifully and very quickly. So keep going at it. Just make sure that the mind is not fooling you and convincing you that you're being empty most of the time. Not that you're making that report, but for all of you, I'm saying that you have to be a little careful that our attempt at being empty is not really an attempt at avoidance or convenience. So, what is your heart report, your intuitive report in terms of how is that attempt to be empty all the time? How is that going for you? How is that unfolding for you?
Usually when I'm sit down, I'm alone. It's easy. It's not always, but it's easy for me not to believe my thoughts. But to be honest, like I'm not sure if when I'm interacting, I think I'm sometimes believing the thoughts. The mind automatically comes, and it's very hard for me, I must say, to not. It's very hard for me not to express my thoughts. Like I don't know if that's the same thing. I also wanted to ask you again. It's again the same. Like if you say really like let all thoughts come and go, like if it means like all like identity, but like I feel kind of the only thing we can believe it's the identity, but you're saying like all thoughts, let all thoughts come and go regardless, because yeah, it makes it so simple somehow. Like, um, so yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know how well I'm doing actually. Maybe these days I thought before I'm like component all the time, and something now I feel it's a little bit healthier. That is seeing through schemes that okay, I was not. Yeah.
Is the video
So
frozen
when yeah.
just for me, or is it freezing for everyone? Okay. And mine is all right.
My internet might not be so good.
I see. Okay, no worries.
Your, your, yours is good.
As long as you can hear me well, that's important. So yes, it can seem like when we are alone by ourselves, it is easier to be in that Zen-like state of not grasping at anything, of not holding on to anything. But you say, as the rubber hits the road when you have to interact with the world, you see, then the mind comes automatically. It always comes automatically. It is not it is not unique. But if you're trying to say that belief goes automatically, then you have to look even more carefully. You see, because many times when you all tell me that the mind comes like this, what you're saying is that belief goes like this automatically. You see, which is not the case really. And You can start with this interaction, you see? Start with this interaction and say that everything that the mind is saying, I will let it come and I will let it go. You see? Because the Master did not say, thoughts are visitors, let them come and let them go, don't serve them tea, except some thoughts which are like this. They did not say that. No? So all thoughts you can allow to let go, because there is a greater intelligence, and in that question there may be a doubt about that. You see? That if I allow all thoughts to come and go, then how will my interaction happen? How will I engage with the world? You see? Because the mind is doubting the existence of a greater intelligence, and that intelligence is running this universe. Forget about just having a conversation. It is that intelligence, that presence, which is the light of this universe. So if it can run this whole world, then to move your mouth and say the next thing is not so difficult. Only that the switchover period, you see, the switchover period may seem to be a bit wobbly. You may seem like you run out of words. You may fear, the mind may throw many fears at you and say, but you can't live like this. You see, people will think that there's something wrong with you. All these kind of worries will come. But you don't have to worry about any of that. You see, remember that, I don't know if I was sharing in the broadcast, but our life is a life with an audience of one. Yeah. The size of the audience that we have in our life is one. You got that? This audience is God. God are the only eyes that matter. Gods are the only eyes that matter. People may think whatever of you, people may love you, you may have millions of people that love you. You see? But if you're just performing for them, if you're just identifying with your mind so that you can look good for them, then it is not really important at all. The only thing that matters is how are we in God's eyes. And when I say God's eyes, I'm not talking about an oppressive one who is judging every action that we are doing. I'm talking about His presence, which is watching, which is with us through every heartbeat, through every breath of our life. And to remain with Him, to remain in His love, in His light, is the only thing that is really important. So we must not be concerned about how am I looking in the eyes of another, what are people thinking of me. Never be concerned about that. The eternal witness, you see, the third bird is the only bird which is relevant. That one is always watching. So never get caught up in the ways of the world, and whether in your being spiritual you're able to perform in the world well, or the world is finding you too foolish these days, or what is happening, that really doesn't matter. So try this out. Let go of every thought. Remain empty.
Thank you.
And that remaining empty will allow you to recognize that you are that pure awareness itself, and unidentified as anything in the world. Deeper and deeper you will fall in love with your heart, and then It will become natural for you to remain empty and to remain in your self-recognition of who you are.
I feel that's all my heart is longing for. Like, yeah, completely. So just letting all thoughts come and go, no regard what.
Yeah. Okay, let's check if it was not like that. So we said, no, not all thoughts, but there are some
Yeah,
thoughts which you must believe. You see? Then you have to get your intellect involved. You see? What will
yes,
happen? So your thought is
yes,
coming. Then your intellect has to be involved saying, yes, this thought okay, this thought not okay. So the judging aspect of the mind, which is the intellect, will then have to be on overdrive. You see? But when the intellect is on overdrive, then you can't really be empty because then you're judging every thought, saying good or bad. You see, and the mind itself will pose as if it is your wisdom, it is your intellectual, spiritual understanding, and it will confuse you about, oh, that thought should have been believed, that thought should not have been believed, you're doing it all wrong, and the checker guy will go on overdrive. You see, so that way we will never come to any freedom if we start to categorize and say that this is helpful. Again, I'm telling you that there is a greater intelligence which can run your life, you see, which is actually running our life. So we have to learn to trust that. Just trust that more and more. The switchover period may seem a bit confusing, may seem a bit of oscillations may happen, but you must make the switch fully.
I guess I'm just afraid that I'm speaking from my mind. I just, yeah, because a thought comes and I just do what you told, a little bit what you told me. I just let it go and see if my lips basically say it. And sometimes I'm not sure if if I'm coming from my mind or it's just the heart speaking.
Yes.
Yeah.
So keep at it, but the path of open and empty has this very important obstacle, you see. This is the main important obstacle, which means that I heard this example in Satsang by Podarji, where he said, uh, if you were told not to believe your thoughts, he didn't say that, but making the comparison, yes? In the same way that suppose that one day someone came and told you that you must make sure that you never look at the moon. You must make sure that you never look at the moon. And so, what would happen before that? You were not concerned. You were not even looking at the moon ordinarily. You see? But now that you heard this, then you're constantly, oh, I must make sure I don't look at the moon. I must not look at the moon. Even if it's daytime, we may be worrying about when it is night, let me make sure I don't look at the moon. You see? So many times in the path of open and empty, we can fall into this kind of sort of mental state which tells us to not get identified with our thoughts, make sure that you're not following the mind. And this tendency I've called the checker guy, you see, for many years. So this checker guy will come and oppress you, you see, pretending to be your spiritual guide in the head, but actually it is the oppressor, the mind posing as the spiritual friend. So what must you do? When this thought comes and says, I must not believe my mind, you can inquire into it and say, who is this I? Who am I? So use the inquiry along with your open and empty. If you're not able to just remain empty of especially these thoughts, which are the checker guy thoughts. Because the checker guy can keep us trapped for centuries. We can keep understanding, but the mind can keep using that and saying, see, now this is what you're doing. See, now this is what you're doing. You're following the mind. The mind itself will say you're following the mind. You see? And this circle doesn't seem to have an exit except if you use the inquiry. So if you use the inquiry and say, but who is this I? then you return to your self-recognition and you remain empty. Very good. So, how do you start your day?
As you told me, yeah. With the Guruji's exercise right now, like sitting for 15 minutes usually, and just trying to, just simplify, just trying to be empty. And if, I feel I cannot do it just if grace allows, but come to the self-recognition, stay in that self-recognition.
Very good.
Like
Perfect.
that,
So, this is a very good way to start. And then, how soon before you notice that you're starting to get involved with the mind and things of the world? So the exercise got over. Now you remain empty and the self is apparent to you. Then the play of life continues. So do you feel like in a few minutes you start to get involved with the world, or for a few hours you're empty like that? Of course, things will come in the middle, but I'm saying predominantly.
Mostly I would say empty, but somehow not always is apparent. Yeah, it's apparent to me that I'm the awareness somehow when I'm moving somehow, and then I try to stay in that, and maybe it mixes itself all up. So I cannot say that completely. Cannot say that it's apparent to me that I'm the awareness all the time. Like not even close somehow. It's like glimpses, but I know you told me, and I know that like if the greatest obstacle is the identification, and like without that, basically, I'm aware that I'm awareness.
Yes.
So
Without that,
it's
everyone is
amazing.
aware. Without that, everyone is. So that is the main problem. That this
Yeah.
identification, when we believe the narrative of the mind, and we believe this answers your earlier question also. If you believe any construct of the mind, you see, the me somewhere is inbuilt in that, or even if it doesn't seem apparent in that moment, very soon it is coming. So, for example, I used to constantly take this example saying, If we just believe a harmless thought, what's wrong with believing that the coconut is green? You see? Because your mind doesn't leave you at that. No? It says, oh, when I was young, I used to have these green coconuts, or I don't like these kind. I don't like this kind of coconut, I prefer the other one. Or when I was in India, this is what I did versus. You see, so very quickly the identity is coming. It is very difficult to grab on to the construct of thoughts and not fall for an identity. So, uh, yes. So then what happens when you find yourself, when you notice for yourself that you're getting involved in Maya, that you're getting caught in Maya, what is the chop you're using?
Usually, sometimes I just snap my finger. Just snap or just let it go. It's snap. I don't know. Just like Guruji sticks,
Yeah.
or sometimes you used to do before the click. I to do that, or yeah. When I notice it, I just let it go somehow.
You
I
just
don't
let
know.
it.
Just
Yes. And
yeah. Just
okay.
let it go.
Yes. So then after how long do you remain empty again? In the sense that, okay, I don't want to be too quantitative about it, but if you tell me that after the exercise is over, 99% of the time I go back to the mind and I have glimpses like 1% of the day, then I have glimpses and recognition for that 1% that I am awareness itself. But all the rest of the time I'm taking myself to be somebody identified as a person. Then that my advice, my guidance may be different. Then if you say, yes, 90% I am awareness itself, but from what I can tell, my intuitive report card is that about 10% of the time I fall into the identity of being somebody. And I know we cannot be precise about these things because it varies. But what is your heart sense?
Yeah, I'm taking. I don't know.
Can't hear you, my dear.
I don't know. I feel I'm making still some small mistakes. Then sometimes, can you hear me now?
Now, yes.
Yeah, yeah. That I feel I am taking the I to be true, even if it's like harmless. I must say, like, okay, I want to go there. I want to do, and something believes in that.
How
Into
do you
the
know it is?
harm.
How do you know it is harmless?
I don't know. I don't know. Yeah. That's the yeah.
It's not harmless, no, because
Yeah.
it is the greatest harm to take yourself to be that which you're not. You see, because in that moment there is a seeming distance between yourself and God's presence. You see,
Mhm.
so that seeming distance between yourself and God's presence is, it can seem like it is all right in the world, but actually it is not. It is quite harmful for us to live away from God's presence. It is like a leaf having fallen from its branch, you see, trying to make it by itself, but it's just falling. So we must return to our connection with God, with the truth, as quickly as we can. So the matter is literally a matter of life and death. You see, I don't mean to sound too scary, but literally it is a matter of being truly alive or being in a zombie existence. You see, and when I make that metaphor, I've been using it, analogy, metaphor over and over again. And sometimes I wonder whether I'm being too stark, but when I look at it, I see that it's very, very accurate actually. It's very, very accurate actually. You see, because anytime we identify it and we take ourselves to be this bundle of flesh alone, then that is to be a zombie. So the problem is not in the activity by itself, where you say, I have to go there, I have to do that. You see, that can still happen. But the I to be taken to be this, just this appearance, that that is what Maya's whole game is. The whole game of Maya is to distract us from the fact of God's light and God's presence within us. The fact of our unchanging reality as awareness itself, into taking ourselves to be this body mind. And that is possibly the greatest harm we can afflict on ourselves.
As you said, it's because sometimes the outer situation seems like it's so demanding, like that it's so convincing in this way because, for example, I need to find new accommodation or something, and then otherwise I end up on a street, and this way, that's when it can trick me maybe.
Yes. And that is why it is important to remember that in this life there will be good times, there will be bad times, all these things, ups and downs will come, you see. But our job is to remain constant in His love and His light with the truth. And the design of Maya is this way. It will always pull us. It won't say, okay, now you are going to Satsang, it's okay, I'll leave you. You see, you are gone, I'll leave you. You see? Even if you read the stories of the greatest sages, you will see that Maya keeps trying, the mind keeps trying, it doesn't give up. You see? So the nemesis in this spiritual game, in this spiritual lila, in this spiritual battle almost, the nemesis is a very persistent one. You see? You see? So it'll say, what are you going to do? Are you going to live without a house? You're going to be homeless. You'll have no money. See? What's going to happen to you? And what happens? You see? The only one who can help us in that situation, that we forget. You see, which is God. God is forgotten. And we say, okay, how can I do this for myself? God can wait. I have other important things to resolve right now. You see, my prayer can wait, my inquiry can wait, my being empty can wait, all that can wait. Because I have important things to do right now. You see, and that is the whole game, that is the whole trick. What do we give importance to? What can we give importance to? That's why I'm telling you that not only is it just an audience of one, it is only Him which is the reality of any of this. That is why this is called Maya. No? You see? The great realm of appearances which is constantly changing and therefore doesn't have any substantive reality to it, except as a projection on the screen of consciousness itself. You see? So, as real as you take a movie, and maybe less than that also, because many times movies can be quite compelling. So, take that to be your only reality, the only important thing. Take Him to be the only important one. See, otherwise, are you noticing the trick? When the danger of bad times comes, we say, let me take care of myself, God can wait. You see? That is exactly the opposite of what we should be doing. If there is an impending danger of something, we should retreat more into God. You see? And retreating more into God, the mind will tell you that is escapism, that is like living like an ostrich, you cannot live like that. But I'm not talking about an external passivity. You see? That may be an external passivity if that is how God wills it. You see? But I have noticed in this life so much that when there seem to be unsurmountable problems, if you just remain with God, then something happens. You can't figure it out in advance. And you're just like, where did that come from? How did that happen? You see, and you get used to it, you know it is God's blessing, you know it is God's grace. You see? But you can't use it conveniently, you can't use it as a cheat code, because our love for him must be real, and our remaining with him must be because of our love for him higher than any love for the world that we may have. You see? Not just as a convenience. Oh, Anantaji told me, when times are bad, just go to God, He will solve it. So then you're still loving yourself and loving the idea of having an easy way to solve the problem instead of loving God. You see? So you cannot fool yourself in these ways, but that is why it is important to deepen our love for God in those times where things don't seem so compellingly out of whack, out of um, things don't seem to be so much in trouble, because that's how you build the deepening in your devotion, so that when the bad times come, you remain, and then you can truly say that whichever way God keeps me, whichever state God keeps me in, I am happy, but I am not going to leave Him come what may. So, whether you say God, whether you say Atma, whether you say Brahman, whether you say the Self, whether you say the truth, it's all the same. We are talking about reality, and we must deepen in our love for reality. Because without that, what is happening is that you're neglecting the guidance of the Sadguru within. The presence of the Atma within is the Sadguru. You see, that's why we are in this process becoming disciples of the Atma. But if we return to the mind, instantly, as soon as the mind presses a button on the remote control, things are in trouble. Relationships are going bad. Running out of money. Health is fading. You see, you don't have any understanding of any meaning in life. You see, you're failing on all fronts. Then, okay, let's leave God for some time. I feel I might have been mistaken. I'm going to take charge of my life. You see, and then I'm of course, I'm over dramatizing it, but this happens in more subtle seeming ways. But that is literally what you're doing. I will get to know right from wrong for myself. I will decide what is good for myself. I will decide. See, all these things come. And what does that sound like? Adam after eating that bite from the apple, isn't it? We leave the innocence of living in God's light, and then we take charge, seemingly, of our life. Not one atom we know how to move, but we think we take charge of our life. But we fall into the same trap again and again. And usually, what happens? Usually, it's not, oh, now I have time. So, I saw, sorry if I'm digressing, but I saw this episode in the Ramayana. Sugriv was blessed by Ram, saved by Ram, was made the king of Kishkinda, and he felt like, thank you God so much, and just like Sri Hanumanji, now I am also your Bhakt and I will give up my life for you if I have to. You see? So this was the intention. Then he was going to send a search party looking for Ma Sita everywhere, in all directions. But what happened? The monsoon season came. It started raining, and it was quite dangerous for them to leave their families with so much rain, with so many obstacles. Their life was in danger, and their families' lives were in danger. So Ram, being the compassionate one that he always is, he said, "No, for my selfishness and for our uh, motive, I cannot risk the lives of so many and put you all in danger. So we will wait till the end of the rains, the monsoon season, and then we will pick up this endeavor again." So what happens is, whatever, it lasts a month and a half or 2 months. So Sugriv, in those 2 months, has forgotten all about this. He is drinking, making merry, he is now the king of Kishkinda. He is enjoying himself. So he promised Ramji that as soon as the season gets over, next morning I will be at your door with the army, willing to start looking, finding Masita. First day has gone, no sign of him. You see? Hanumanji sends a messenger. He doesn't even meet the messenger. Second, you know what what must be happening with Lakshmanji by now. So I feel like by the third day, Ram said, no, he is my friend. He will not betray me ever. You see? But by the third day, Lakshmanji had enough. So he said, I'm going to sort this out. So he goes and he's blazing, blasting. He's just so angry that someone could lie to his brother, the one who saved his life and gave him the kingdom. That one has been forgotten. You see? And then he comes and puts some sense into Sugriv's head, because he was completely lost in his bad habits and in his whatever worldly matters. So, but then he recognized when Lakshmanji and Hanuman explained to him, then very remorsefully he came. So this is the nature of the mind. We can have the best intentions. We can say, yes, my life is only for God. You see? And then one tiny thing comes. Oh, but today Today I have this work. It's very important. Today I have this meeting. Today I have, today match is on. Today something. You see? So every day our life will go. And our best intentions only become a balm for our conscience. You see? Yes, but my intention is to be with God. You see? So let's not fall into any of that, any of those traps, because it can happen in the lives of the highest bhaktas. It can happen in the lives of the highest devotees, that the mind tricks us. You see, we know the Narada and Krishna story. So all these stories, all these aspects of our history just show us what mistakes not to make. The wise ones learn from the mistakes of others. So every moment, God, God, God. It seems beautiful at times. God, God. Ram. Sometimes every Ram tastes so sweet. You're just, what fool could ever leave this? That fool is this one. And other times the world is, something is happening, and work or relationship, something, and you're trying to return to your Ram, and you're like, so dry. Maybe I have to come back to this later, it's not working. Maybe. So that's why I said, maybe on the walk the other day, I don't know if I said in Satsang also, but what we do in the sand is more important than what we do in the honey. When everything seems oppressive, when the world seems attacking, when everything you feel like attacking, your guru, even God you're throwing a tantrum with, you see, all these things are happening, that it is important to regain yourself from the clutches of the mind and return to your sadhana, whether it is your prayer, whether it is your inquiry, whether it is to remain empty, whatever. You cannot wait for better circumstances to be with God, because then otherwise Maya has you by the throat. Then you can never escape this Leela. So what you do when times seem arid and they seem like there's no sweetness in spirituality, then it all seems like a sham. You see? The world seems real, God seems like a notion. You see? It is more important then to make your highest endeavors. When there is sweetness and His presence is seeming so alive and sweet, and the world is seeming like a tiny blip, then there is no effort anyway. What's that? What are you doing? What have you done with any of that? That is grace that you've received.
Like that is God's grace, and when we are in the sand, then it has to be our effort, no?
Yeah.
So that is just prasad, but this is actually the test.
This is it. So there is only one end to that mental debate about effort versus grace, which is that whatever you think you can do effort with, you must do. You cannot say, oh, everything is going to be His grace. We heard in a satsang yesterday also that it's a very popular cop out to say, yes, but now I found the master has to do everything. That now I've given everything to the master, now the master has to do everything. If that was true that we've given everything to the master, then we won't even worry about the second part of the statement. But usually it is just a mental excuse. So we are refusing to follow, we are refusing to. So one threw a tantrum with Mana, and you can correct me. To Anandamai Ma, that हमने तो सुना था कि गुरु बहुत कृपालु होते हैं. I'll translate, don't worry. हमने सुना था गुरु बहुत कृपालु होते हैं, हम तो आपकी शरण में कब से आए हैं, आप कृपा क्यों नहीं करती हम पे? Kind of tantrums kids would throw with Anandamai Ma is amazing. So he said, why you want to throw that?
Last Satsang's question.
How you remember? The question that, Ma, how is your hair so black and silky? 8 minutes she answered that question, but even, and she was explaining what happens in, like, and they are still like, but that is not enough. You have to tell us how can you have such, she's giving you the whole, depth of this, and through it also they are asking her, how, but telling us the truth of it. Now, how is your hair so black and shiny?
I didn't click on it yet. I haven't heard that one yet. But the title was "Give us the mantra to have black and shiny hair."
Wow! That was the question from that also.
Imagine Maya sitting in front of you and you're saying, "What is the Chaitanya sir? What is the secret to having black and shiny hair?" So yes, it's amazing the beauty of the love that she had for all of us. So this question of the Guru's grace or God's grace, which is actually the true Sadguru, is God's presence within us, can be a very convenient thing. So she said to them that अपने पे तो तुम कृपा करो, अपनी कृपा तो करो अपने पे. Which means that, so the disciple is throwing a tantrum saying, it is said that you come to a guru and all your karmas are gone. You see, all the grace comes and your life is taken care of. You meet God, you can come to God's light. But we've been with you for so long. Why haven't you done your kripa on us? Why hasn't this grace worked on us? So she said that it's very important for us to do that grace upon ourselves first. See, what is that? That is the effort. Because we are not, it is just tantruming and lip service because we still want to put effort in other things. See, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, let's go here, let's go there, this would be good for me, this would be bad for me. So we're doing all of that. But when it comes to praying, being with God, our sadhana, then we make excuses and we say, no, but God's grace has to do it. So Then the same message is there in the cost of discipleship. See, people want this cheap grace, but grace is a costly grace. What is the costly grace? What is the price of grace? Your entire life. Only one who has surrendered their entire life to God, to the Sadguru, to the Atma within, can say that everything must happen by grace. So then, otherwise it's a cheap grace saying, yes, 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 I have surrendered to the Master, now Master has to take care. You see? It has no power. It has no potency like that. So Bonhoeffer took the example of a freshman in college saying, oh, I don't know anything. Versus a philosopher who spent their whole life trying to get to the root of what is true. And that at the end they say, oh, nothing can be known. I don't know anything. There's a difference in the two. Would you say that that one has wasted their whole life because a freshman could have said that in college? Well, nothing can be known. Is it? No, it's not like that. Because the process of diving within ourselves, looking for the truth, is the most exquisite, is the most beautiful, is the most important. So although the content of the words may be the same, the two lives cannot be compared at all.
It's like how you say when the baby is born, he's in God. Like, but for an adult who's come through the sadhana, you go to them for guidance, not to a baby, or not to a toddler who can speak.
Important. Both a sage and a baby have great innocence. So then we may say, why don't we just go to a baby for satsang? Because there is value in getting caught in the delusion and then finding God's grace and finding your way out of that delusion. That one can guide you. Although the innocence may be the same as a byproduct of that process. But we cannot grace is not a shortcut for the lazy. Grace is not a shortcut for the lazy or a convenience. So if we say, oh, I didn't pray today because he didn't call me in the heart, that's sheer nonsense. I just say excuses. There's not a moment when he's not calling us. When is he not calling us? I turn away. I keep switching from him. Have you ever met God in your heart and he said, what are you doing here? I'm busy right now. No, he's always calling us. Has his presence ever turned us away saying, no, 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 right now I'm a bit occupied? Yeah? So this is the entitlement of our human condition, that he can keep waiting for us, his presence can be there always for us. You see, he should be there as the comforter, as the refuge, but we will decide when to go to him. Just imagine Krishna or Ram or Jesus waiting for you outside in a room, outside your office, and you keep him waiting all day. Why is the presence of God within yourself any different? And then we say, how is God so unmerciful, so, how long do I have to search for him? Why doesn't he show himself to me? Because you took out 10 minutes from your day or 10 hours in a week and turned to God, whereas He's been waiting your entire life. So the sense always has to be that there's nothing that makes me deserving of your light, of your presence, of your love, and yet I can rely only on your mercy, on your compassion. Remember that whether it is jnana, bhakti, karma, hatha yoga, whatever you may be doing, nothing is a path which entitles you to God or the truth. You see? Don't feel that because you are inquiring, who am I, who am I, who am I, he'll be forced because he has to answer your question. You see? And that in that way, no path is greater or smaller than the other, because all is ultimately reliant on His will. And whichever path appeals to us in our heart, we must fully dive in. Because our remaining open and empty and inquiring, or using the inquiry to come to intuitive insight where we remain open and empty in true self-recognition, is actually not different from what a bhakta will call the prayer of the heart, or remaining in a quiet prayer, in a wordless prayer. A quiet prayer does not mean that some child says this quiet prayer means that you just like inwardly whispering the prayer to yourself. That is a beautiful prayer, but that is quiet prayer is a wordless prayer. So which is just like being open and empty. So all these paths may seem different to the mind, but actually the way to God looks for thousands and thousands of years since the beginning of humanity. What happened? Still on? Yes. So really the point today is, hopefully by now you are all saying that this is the only meaning of life. If there is a meaning, it has to be this. You see? Which is to come to the realization of God, to come to the realization of the truth, to come to self-realization, God realization, whatever you call it. You see? That is the only meaning of life, only purpose of life. And in that endeavor, and all of you are endeavoring with all your heart, full-heartedly endeavoring for it, then in that process you are going through some challenges, you're going through some obstacles, confusions, the mind is tripping you up. So I can just attempt to help you as an older brother along the path, and express to you from my experiences, if I got stuck in the same way, what did grace show me, what did the Atma's light guide me to. But none of you must think that it's easy.
Can I, Father, when you mentioned the scene from Ramayana, right? The Ramayana scene, Father, every statement what Ram is making there.
No, I'll turn this off.
So every statement Ram is making either to Lakshman or to Hanuman or Sugriv, or it's exactly what you are saying to us, Father. You are telling to me, in fact. If you see, for that Lakshman, he is about to be angry, and also he said that please don't judge from here without looking at what Sugriv wants to say. Then when Sugriv went there, he went to the Sugriv. Sugriv is like lying, and that literally the girls were dancing in front of. So I felt like I am sitting there and watching the reels of Instagram, literally, and forgetting God, Father, literally forgetting. So the excuse is same what my mind gives. Sugriv says, "Oh, it's 3 months. Doesn't matter 1 or 2 days here and there. I can catch up with Ram tomorrow also." Exactly same. And on the other hand, where Sita, Father, Ravan is trying everything, like by fearing her, by scaring her, or by not giving her food, or trying to impress her by showing her power, gold, and everything. But look at that trust of Sita in Ram, Father. That's what everything has been pointing towards that one. So thank you, Father. I can see Raman in different perspective now.
Yes, that's very true. That while all this is happening in Kishkinda, then at the same time, Ravan is trying to impress Sita, is trying to scare Sita, is trying to motivate her, is trying every trick that the mind uses. You see? To say, come with me, stay with me, become my wife, and leave Ram. So Ravan is very well crafted as a historical figure as well as a character in the narrative to represent the mind. You see?
Father, one more thing. Even Hanuman starts doubting it. So, in one of the things he says, "What if I can't see her? I can't meet, and how will I show my face to you?" So Ram himself is saying, "I have more trust in you than you have in yourself, Father." So it's all grace, Father.
He said to, in fact, the whole army, and then first the whole army is a bit scared and saying, but how will we fight against a huge army of Ravan? We are a small kingdom, we can't fight. Because clearly they were not recognizing the power that they're in the midst of. You see? But the same thing happens with all of us, that we feel that, but this world is too strong, it is too powerful, it can hurt us, it can hurt our families, it can hurt our loved ones. You see? Our life will become a mess. So this fear comes, but if you recognize that the one in your heart is the one for whom this whole universe is nothing, you see? That faith has to keep deepening more and more. So he was saying that even Hanumanji at one point said that this may be the last time I see you because you've given me this work, and if I'm not able to undertake it for you, then I can never bring myself to show my face again to you. And Ram reassures him and said that I have full faith in you, and your faith, your bhakti will make sure that it happens, to the extent that he gives the ring that he has to Hanumanji, saying that when you meet Sita, give her this ring, she will recognize you as my messenger then. That is the level of trust that he had.
Say, what's the mind to God? It's like nothing, you know. And sometimes when you're getting a mind attack, then when I remember that sentence, and I was like, what's the mind to God? I mean, if we turn back and stay there, what can this mind do? It's like nothing. But because you said it, and because one knows that you're telling us the truth, and you believe it fully, then it works, you know. It was just very recently that I remember saying this to myself. What's the mind going, you know, to
Thank you, thank you. So that reminded me, it may not seem like directly related to what you said, But one of the ways that we can be empty, open and empty for God, is to not move unless He moves us. So to follow His will, Hukum Rajai Chalna, Nanak Likhyana, is as good as any sadhana to uh, remain in His presence. Hand over your will completely to Him. Hand over everything that you think you want to Him. And the rest of you will follow. We are so reliant on this idea of self-will, independent will. But when will is truly surrendered to God, then your image and other concerns can't really be far behind. So servitude really at the crux of it is a surrender of will. How to check what is your will? We've asked this question many times. What do you want? Leave that to God. That is how you truly become a devotee, that you truly become a bhakta, you become a servant to His will. But also that is karma yoga. Follow His will without attaching to any outcomes. Otherwise, in karma yoga, how would you know what is the right thing to do? Even if you are unattached to the outcome, is to follow His will. What is the karma? What is the right dharma? When we follow the right dharma, then we do the right karma. What is our dharma? We can never know. We can never know what is our dharma. We can only be guided by His will moment to moment. So it doesn't matter how high the book, how high the template is, but His will must be ascertained not with our conceptual understanding of dharma, but by our servitude in our heart to follow His will. Because His will is the highest dharma. So were the Pandavas fighting in the battle of Mahabharata, following Krishna's instructions, doing the dharma or no? But many times they were made to do things which on paper were not the most ethical, saying it lightly. But it is still dharma because only God has the bigger picture. Only God has the bigger picture. So the only way that our life can be a true life, a good life, is to follow His will in our heart. Was Abraham doing his dharma with Isaac? Not on paper, because it seems wrong at every level. But he was the highest dharma because he was following God's will. These things we cannot understand. And yet that faith led to so much of the world following what is now called Abrahamic religions.
Does it feel different when God is moving this body or when I'm moving this body? Is there something that I can...
Yes, if you just feel may not be the right word, but you know when you are in His presence. And if you don't know, it's okay. It's okay. But your endeavor must be to deepen and deepen till you know. If you refuse to move without it being clear to you what is His will, then He will show you in one way or the other. Okay? But it may be a little, you need to be very empty to truly do that exercise. You see? Otherwise, the whole process of doing this exercise will become too much of an expression of your will. You see? Can you do this with the prayer? Yeah.
Should I repeat?
You say it loudly, it's okay. Don't worry about the mic.
So I said, like, can it repeat the same like that? It's your own will. At the baby center, try to
Yes.
push it, but you don't feel express it, you don't feel it's like.
You push through in your prayer, but if there is pride, if there is selfishness, if there is too much exertion of self-will, then you get your answers in the prayer itself. You see, in the sense that the answer doesn't have to be in words that he says to you, no, you're being full of pride in your prayer, but your answer is a feeling of disconnection. Your answer could be a feeling of distance from God. You see, and as we become sensitive to this, then that even a moment of distance from Him feels like a what is the word? Then return. You see, you have to return. So the process of prayer that you learn from the outside, from me, for example, or from the beautiful books that sages have written, is only when in India, I don't know if it happens in your country also, but many times when cars don't run, then people have to push so that the starting momentum is there. So the teacher from the outside, the teacher in the books can only give you that starting momentum. Then the prayer itself teaches you how to pray. You see, it teaches you how to pray because truly you're in the refuge of the Holy Spirit within, and that Holy Spirit will keep guiding you. And if you're open to His guidance, then you will not be stuck in obstacles for too long. He'll keep showing you, keep showing you. So our sensitivity increases to following His instruction very well. So yes, your job is to keep at it, but keep at it in a spirit of openness. You see, keep at it in a like that, where you're soft on the inside. You're soft on the inside, so you're not being. You see, maybe outwardly, other people around you feel like you're being very strong about it, and you're just caught up in your sadhana. You see, but inwardly, with God, you're soft and humble. And when you're soft and humble, then what are the words? I have not used words to describe this. How does the Atma teach us? It can teach you in words, but mostly it is teaching you without words in the light, no? And just it's like the light, and that's why I don't want to share too much because you'll start visualizing. So don't visualize, but His light will teach you. You see, there's an inner language which the Holy Spirit shares with you, which all of you will start to recognize more and more. Already you are, because you've taken the first steps towards Him. So you're already moving to His beat now. But as you get used to listening to the fire, the flame within, the light within, it is full of communion, it is full of teaching, it is full of grace. So keep praying with humility and it will become clearer and clearer. It is possible for us to become, proud about our prayer. It is possible for us to become hardened. It is possible for us to think we are doing the best sadhana ever. Our inquiry is all this pride can get to us. But if we continue to go to our heart, He will guide us. He will tell us also to let go of our pride, show us how we are holding on to things. Like He's showing me hundreds of things, most of which I don't have words to express. But all of us are in that curriculum with the Sadguru presence within. Many hands are up. Oh, okay. Let's go to Paula.
Hello, Father.
Hello, my dear.
So good to be here with you.
Same. How is it going with the discipleship of the Sadguru within, of the Atma within, of the Holy Spirit within? I hope all of you have got a sense of these words now, that when I say, I'm using it interchangeably, so I don't have to say all of them every time.
No, it's clearer and clearer. Like, yeah. I don't know. How is it going? I don't want to be ungrateful, to say it's all wrong or to complain or to, no, because not like that. I'm very grateful.
Yes. But you can tell me openly, what do you feel? Because I'm not wanting to sound harsh, but
Can't hear.
messed up, for example, if something is not going well, for example, and many days here also things may seem messed up, or I may not be happy with my sadhana, and I know that it's a grievance against my own self. I'm holding on to my own will too much. You see, so it's not a complaint against God or Guru or teaching or any of that. It's noticing for ourselves. You see, that we are getting distracted by the world, we are getting caught up in the distractions of Maya.
It's exactly that, Father, that I see that there's a lack of faith. There's a lot of, I mean, when I listen to you, all that you're saying, and it's so true that during the day, it's 90% distracted, but on the other hand, I see that more and more there's this pain of being distracted, and that is pulling me to, oh my God,
Very good. Now, I want to share a tip with all of you, which I learned also recently, is that one of the satsangs I was hearing said, if you've fallen, then just get up. You see? And it seems quite simplistic actually, but maybe one way to explain this is to notice the difference. Have you seen a child falling and getting up? You see? They're playing in the playground, they fall, sometimes they cry, and then they just get up and start playing again. You see? And have you seen the difference in an adult? An adult falls off their bike or something, first they're looking around to see who saw. No, first is like, did anyone see? Second, they're looking for someone to blame, saying, oh, why did they spoil this road? Why all of this thing? Then they're checking the bike, saying, okay, now this has to be repaired and I have to take it for maintenance or I have to buy a new bike. You see? All this will happen. You see? So that is the difference between when the sage is saying, if you've fallen, just get up. You see, they're talking about that child. Like, okay, you recognized you fell. The idea is not to then keep falling more and more in our mind and saying this happened because this happened because this. Return to God. Now, what can happen is that the mind has a trump card over here. You see, so let's dissect it. The mind says, oh, so what you're saying is that you could have made such a big mistake. You see, you could be so distracted for 10 years, and what you're saying is just forget about it and just return to God. That sounds very convenient. You see, so what is saying is no, you better sit and feel guilty for 1 or 2 years. You say that I have been bad. You see, you better do all of that first, because that is how you learn. And it'll say, otherwise you're just doing avoidance, you're doing Advaita avoidance, spiritual bypassing. You see, all of these fancy words will come. You see? But what happens really, when we return to God, is it that God does not show us, that we don't notice where we faltered, where we made our mistakes? It's not like that. I'm not saying that in your heart is like a bliss zone where you go over there and then everything is just forgotten. You're just like that. You see, no, you're in the discipleship of the Sadguru. Within you learn a lot. You realize your mistakes. You realize your errors. In the discipleship of the Atma, I'm recognizing so many stupid, foolish things that play out here. You see, so we must never feel like it's an avoidance. You see, and we have to rely on ourselves in our minds to recognize our foolishness or our follies. That is how the mind takes it to be, but it's not like that. When you return to the highest teacher in the universe, which is the Sadguru presence in your heart, you feel like he's going to leave us without us recognizing properly where our conditions lie, where we trip up over and over again. He is not. So even the curriculum and what has to be learned, and when what has to be learned, we can leave to him. It is not a bypassing, it is not a spiritual avoidance. It is truly coming to the place where we actually learn and we grow. That is why to fall, we will all keep falling, because the path is difficult, it is rocky, this Maya is very compelling. There is nobody who can say, I'm done with this Maya. You see, I'm 100% done with this Maya. Nobody who can say that. You see, then they probably caught up a lot in Maya if they're saying that. You see? But so it is natural for all of us to keep falling. But truly, if we're true disciples of God, then we will return to God's light as soon as possible. So we'll fall and we'll get up again, we'll commit again not to fall, then we'll fall again, and then we get up again. That is life, you see, and it's a beautiful life like this, although it may not sound like that you just keep falling and getting up, you see, but it is the most beautiful life, because at least in our attempt to stay with God, we are getting a taste of how it could be to live, getting a taste of heaven.
Yes, Father. Yes. And what I see is this falling and getting up and falling is during the day many times. I mean, it's like moment to moment, no? More and more is a moment to moment thing rather than seeing like the big picture of life and years and all that. No, it's like this hour, the next hour, and the next hour. And that's why I see, oh my God, I'm too distracted. I mean, I cannot, I have to accept that, that it's,
Very good. I'm saying very good. Some of you may be finding it strange that one is talking about constantly falling and noticing it and getting up again. And I'm going on saying very good because this is a more reassuring report for me. You see? This is a more reassuring report for me that somebody is noticing. Because, like I said, to be free from Maya 100% is beyond human possibility. But to notice it and to say, yes, this is where I trip up, I notice this is what happens, thoughts about this get me, my attachments are still there for these things. So that is the sound of one who is noticing things about themselves, who is working on remaining in God's light more and more and trying to return to God. Versus if I had a child who was saying, yeah, it's all good. What is falling? What is the getting up? It's all Him. Where can I go? It's very easy to speak these words, and I will fall at your feet if your words carry the fragrance of His light. You see? But many times it's very easy to just make these conceptual Advaitic positions about ourselves instead of really allowing the rubber to hit the road for us to notice the tricks of the mind that we still fall for. Where does Maya get us? Where do we lose focus? We make it about the me instead of God. So I'm very happy to hear this report because at least then I know that we are walking together. See? Because I'm walking on the same path. I'm walking on the same road, falling, getting up, falling, getting up. So at least I know that it is familiar territory. And I also know that you've been in satsang long enough to be able to speak the big words if you wanted to. You see? But you're not doing that. You see, you're not doing that. And you're remaining humble and you're looking at yourself in this way. So I'm very happy.
Just lately, I see and I pray for the mercy of God, Father, and your daily prayer is becoming a huge friend. And also, I don't know how, but a japa is now with me and in my hand. And it's the first time in my life that I do this, but because I feel I need this physical thing. Otherwise,
Again, I couldn't hear it.
that now I'm using a japa. I feel the inner guidance because otherwise I don't know. And because I feel I need this physical help, that to touch. It's
You're using a mala, are you saying?
yeah,
Yes. That's fine. It's completely fine.
and thank you for the ideas.
Very welcome.
Thank you.
So all the anchoring is available to us, whether in the form of a mala, whether in the form of our breath. So we can use whatever anchors are suggested. Feel free to use them, and we must not judge ourselves and say no, but if I use a mala, then I'm just a beginner. People are just praying wordlessly in their heart, and I'm sitting and using a mala. Remember what I told you. The only audience which is important is Him. You see, it is not important what tools, what anchoring, whether you take yourself to be a beginner or an expert. None of that is important. What brings you to His light, to His presence? You see? That is the only importance. So don't fall for any worldly sideshows about, oh, how are you doing it? Is it? Are you still using a mala? Huh? Oh, I'm to praying wordlessly now. Is it? Like that. Be careful of all of these things. Yeah? So just be true to yourself in your heart, because He knows. He is all knowing and ever present and always guiding us, except when we get caught up in our pride. Then He says, let this child play around for a bit. And He says, yes, yes, I'm something great. Then, like, okay, play for a bit. So, very good. I'm very happy to hear the humility of your report, and keep going like that. Deepen in your faith, in your humility, in your bowing down to God, and keep reporting back to me.
No, well, Father, thank you. Thank you for asking me to come every Friday, because I feel it is giving a lot of focus and alertness, because I know I have to
I'm
come to
actually
you.
happy to make that offer to everyone.
Yeah.
You see, I don't know how it will work logistically, but I'm happy to make that invitation to everyone, because all of you come and share with me how you're doing, where you get stuck, uh, what seems to be working for you, what is the way of the heart that you're following, so that if I can notice some things and help along the way, maybe learn from all of you as well along the way, I'm happy to give that invitation to all of you, because I don't want any of you to get, like, because of some shyness or not wanting to report or some idea of independence that I will do this by myself or some notion like that. I don't want you to be just falling for some tiny trick from the mind, and maybe because of your report I'll be inspired, I'll learn something new as well. So I'm happy to hear from all of you. But if you feel like you get stuck somewhere, you must come up, you must use the opportunity for us to talk about it.
Yes, I also recommend that to the Sangha. So please come and talk to Father, please. He's here for us, and it's very powerful.
Well, I don't know about the last part, but yes.
I know. You don't know, I know.
No, actually, you don't know. I know how stupid I am. I know.
Oh, don't keep saying that, Father, please.
It's quite true, but thank you. Thank you.
Love you so much, Father.
We love you. Love you too.
Thank you.
Let's go to Peter. Oh,
Hello, Father.
hello,
Hello.
my dear. Hello.
I also wanted to check in with you. The last satsangs were very strong for me, and somehow it's only recently that I'm really trying to take what you are guiding us serious. I think it's when you say, are you empty all the time, or do you pray all the time? And
Yeah.
I'm really trying to take this serious now, and I feel I didn't do that for a long time.
Very
And I find it very helpful to use the ADS during, and I'm trying to stay with it all the time. But it's like a gauge. It shows me very, very clearly where I'm drifting off and where I'm really not staying with God. And this is somehow a bit new and a bit strange, but it feels that it's somehow the right way.
very good.
You know, in the morning, when I'm sitting just for myself in the morning, or with Guruji's contemplation, it's not so difficult to be empty and to really feel God's light.
Very good.
But then during the daytime, now I know I'm leaving very often, and with the ADS, it's not so easy to leave because it shows me when I'm leaving, when I'm drifting off.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly. I'm very happy again. Again, it may sound strange that I'm saying I'm very happy to hear these reports, but this is what I'm saying. You see that many times we don't realize how much we leave God's light, how much we leave His presence. So, for all of you who are reporting this, if it feels true to you that if you're reporting that you now know, you can now see how much identification may happen through the day because of work or whatever situations come up in our day. You see? And really the key is to remain with Him doing His work, the inner quiet work that we are doing, and allowing His light to move the outer work as it needs to happen. You see, so this is very important for all of us to learn, because otherwise we can get into this sort of just notion of being empty without really being empty.
Yes.
And I'm very happy that some of you are reporting. That doesn't mean that the rest of you should say the same thing, only if you feel it is true. But you are reporting that you are noticing now how easily you drift into the Maya, into the me, and leave God's word, leave God's light. So, you see, because when you start to notice like this, then I'm very reassured. Then I'm very reassured that that noticing will take you deeper and deeper into His love, into His light. You see, but till we notice, then we remain stuck in some idea of our spiritual life without it actually translating into a true spiritual life.
Yes. And sometimes arises the question: Is there really this strong love for God? Because it's so rarely that I feel this really devotional love. Sometimes, like last Friday's satsang, when you played all those beautiful bhajans, it was such a strong love for God and it just was so palpable. But often it is just not, and so sometimes I return to the bhajans, to listening them and then I try to evoke this love again. But it's not so often that it comes right just spontaneously out of my heart.
See, the thing is that it is impossible to teach love or to teach us how to love except for the Atma itself, for the Sadguru within. He teaches us how to love as well. And that will deepen more and more. Because can I tell you how to, I may say actively love God, but if you say how, I say just do it, don't ask how. You see, because the how part is ineffable. You see, it cannot be put in words, but He will teach you. God Himself will teach you how to deepen in His love. So good that you notice, and as you keep praying, as you keep deepening in your inquiry, as you keep deepening in keeping your head empty and heart full with His devotion, He teaches us all things which are impossible to be taught in the world.
Yes, and there's I feel also there's some faith in this, that this love will just deepen. There's faith.
Very
Yeah.
good. Very good. Very good. Yes, you're going well, my dear. Just keep going at it. And anytime you feel like you're stuck with something, you can always ask.
Thank you so much, Father. I'm very grateful. Thank you.
I'm so, when I get these reports, I'm so happy in my heart that I'm so excited about where all of you are going, deepening so beautifully in God's love.
Betul, Cháu Yên.
Huh? Yes. Thank you. Okay. Let's move the previous ones. Let's go to Sharad.
Namaste, Father.
Namaste, namaste.
Actually, Father, there was a question. Now there is no question.
Okay.
Uh,
Good.
I think I will ask that one because what happening is during my sleep state, I don't know whether it is a dream or actually it has happened twice. There is a
Yes.
fear coming about leaving this body, and it happens. I don't know how much time, but what really happens is some fear is coming, and actually I don't have anything to do there, and I'm just witnessing, and it's like I'm just witnessing only, and I see myself doing surrendering to Ramana Maharshi's feet, and somehow it 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 vanishes. That fear disappears. Actually, it happened twice. I thought first it happened. I don't want to share with you. I thought it was just a mind or some dream or something like that.
Yes.
But it happened again. And just want to share that one only, sir. Only, Father.
Yes, very good. So, love is the antidote to all fear, and you bow down to Bhagwan in that devotion. Devotion is full of love. So, keep using everything to turn you towards this deep devotion, towards this deeper love. So, very good. So, whenever this fear comes or if it comes again, yes, Bhagwan is there supporting you. Just have full faith that He is taking care of you. There's nothing to worry. Sometimes to fear death is okay. You may feel that, oh, no fear should ever come. Huh? But maybe if we fear death a little bit, we'll turn to God more. You see, because it's coming anyway. No? And we don't know when it's coming. Pal mein padle hoegi. So this death or kal or whatever you want to call it may come anytime. So it's okay to remind ourselves of that. I heard somewhere that I don't know if it's true, but it's nice to hear. But they say that people in Bhutan are the happiest. Some of you know the happiest. They're the happiest people. And then people did some exploration into what makes them so happy. It seems that there they are taught to contemplate their death every day. They contemplate their death every day. At least that's what I heard. And yet they're the happiest people. So we must not have this taboo about contemplating death, even if some fear comes. It's okay. It's a good wake-up call because death is coming. See, many times I try to give you that wake-up call in satsang. You see, so it's okay for this fear to come. Sometimes death is coming, and every time we sleep, we have no idea whether we are going to wake up. You see, and which realm we'll wake up in, we don't know. Whether this was just a dream that is ending, we don't know. So sometimes it's very good to look at these things directly like that. And even if fear comes, fear is nothing so much to fear. Like, fear is not something we must fear a lot. You see, it is fear. It's okay. Or to fear so much in fear coming, we don't have to fear that. You see? Like other things come, anger comes, hunger comes, fear comes. Okay. But our fear of the fear will make that fear into fear. And if you fear too much, then it becomes like a fear. Then it becomes like a vicious circle. Like, oh, there's fear. Oh, there's fear about fear. So more fear, then more fear. Then it feels like endless. It's never endless like that because everything in Maya is only finite. Nothing is infinite. Only God is infinite. But it can feel so much. So it's okay. Once in a while to experience some fear, especially fear of death, may turn us deeper to God. Like you immediately turn to Bhagwan. It's good. It's good. Don't fear the fear. Let it come. It's okay. It is also natural for this fear to come because you prayed for being able to bear your own emptiness. Okay? And that emptiness is beyond birth and death. And to the mind, that can be very scary. So some of these byproducts will come as you're making these prayers so deeply that you want to remain in your emptiness. May you be able to bear it. The mind will use these kind of tricks of fear, etc., to scare you a bit away from that. Don't worry. Just keep at it. You're good. So, most of the time, don't worry about yourself at all, even about yourself being empty or fearful, nothing. Because if you think about yourself being empty, then you're not actually empty. You see? Or if you're trying to be empty, then you're not actually empty. You see? So keep your focus empty, open, and if your focus needs to be anchored, then let that be in your love for God. In that way, head empty, heart full is taking care of everything.
So, Father, what now I say to myself that what Guruji has told me to say that I'm still empty. Just when I know I already gone with the mind and I took some time to stay in that emptiness. First, I used to let go of everything and just be. That's the practice. Actually nowadays I'm not listening to satsangs too much. Only morning I used to be in my bed for half an hour before doing anything. Only that is the actual practice what is happening with me. And that time I use this staying empty. Only this is the actual practice happening. Somehow because of the job and all, I didn't get enough time to be in satsang now. So, but that I feel some grace or some assistance is happening throughout the day. I don't know. I myself see that I'm not the one who's doing this thing. Somehow, my work and all, it happens something. I don't know how to express it. I just say myself, I'm not the doer. That's it.
Yeah. Which is the you, which is not the doer?
When I'm stuck up in my work or something like that, I just try to let go of everything.
Yeah.
even
Which is the you, which is not the doer.
the one who stuck up and
That is not you.
says,
That is not you. Is that one you?
no,
No, it's not. So empty
the
of
one who,
even the notion of doership or non-doership. When we are endeavoring to be empty, we have to drop every notion, you see, and use it at best for communication. So I'm not chopping or anything like that. I'm just hoping that you don't make a position about anything, even including non-doership. You see, so it is very popular in Advaita Vedanta to say, I am not the doer. You see, but it's mostly in the newer days. In the traditional days, people didn't say it so much. Maybe Ashtavakra said it once, Ribhu said it a couple of times. Why it is important to not repeat that often as it is repeated today, is that we can make a new position about the false one being ourselves in this way. You see? So it's like if you say, I am not the doer, you see, but that I is not you anyway. The one who is the non-doer is not you, it doesn't exist. You see? So we may be creating a attachment to this notion of this I, but divested from the notion of doership. See, that's why when we ask which is the I which is not the doer, you say, but it doesn't exist. It is only the mental projection, the mental conception of myself. Then if it doesn't exist, it's only a mental projection of ourselves, then why we are attaching to that identity and saying, I am not the doer? So best to notice that his light, his presence moves this body mind. Best to notice that it moves in his light, but don't attach to the idea of either being the doer or the non-doer. Just be empty of that. Otherwise, the other trap is we may say, I notice at times that he does everything. You see? But on other times also, he only does everything. You see? So then we should not attach to any of these either way. Just in communication, sometimes we can say like that, because it gets the point of non-volition, non-agency, all those points across. But don't actually believe or end up identifying with even these ideas. So that way you will really remain empty.
thank you, sir.
Bless you, bless you, bless you.
Thank you for everything.
Always welcome. Always welcome. Let's go to Kunal.
Hello, Father. Can you hear me?
Hello, my dear. Yes, I can hear you well.
Hello.
Hello.
I had a lot of things that I wanted to say, but as I see you talk with other people slowly and slowly, the questions, they start to fade away a bit. But I did just want to say thank you, but also expose something that's just been kind of bothering me, building up a little lately. It's this need for attention inside of me. When I cannot access God through the light or through love, I feel like if I act up and do bad things, then maybe I'll still get his attention somehow, whether it's God or even you. If I come to you and I say something really naughty, Ananta is going to give me more attention. So if I act bad and I do this, it's been a pattern with me that I've noticed since, upbringing and all that, but it just feels like an easier route to go than trying to act all goody goody. I love you, you love me, Barney, kind of thing, And it just pisses me off so much when I see such purity. It's like I feel like Ravana's boiling inside of me. It's just pressing something. And I just want to scream and shout and throw things and say, I exist. I have my own anger and my will. like beating my chest like King Kong. So I want to expose all of this, and I want you to just please take it away from me. I'm trying to work on it myself. I went for a walk this morning to try to let this energy come out. I'm trying to be more active. Even when I was walking, and sometimes I walk, I try to do Hare Krishna, and not be so frustrated. But yeah, I just want to expose this with a little bit of humor as well, because otherwise I'll go crazy. But yeah.
It's a very
Yeah.
sweet report. I liked it. I like it a lot. So that attention part you have now, you have my full attention. So
Yeah, it worked. It worked.
but you know what happened is that I'm very familiar with this because when my daughter was younger, then she had this. She did not care whether that attention is an angry attention or it's a loving attention or it's any kind of attention, as long as she got the attention. Because she was the younger one. She's the younger one. So what would happen is that I would be speaking with my son and we were talking about something, and suppose she was not part of the conversation, she would just come and start making some noise. Something, she would just make, so basically saying, look at me, talk to me, like this kind of thing. So I'm very familiar with that kind of thing. It's in my younger one, she had it a lot. I feel like she settled a bit with that now. But I can understand how that works. But I would say don't try to get God's attention in this way, in that
All right.
by doing something what you call bad or something like that. He has your you have his full attention. You have his full attention. And we talked about that earlier. You must look at God like the one who is writing your story. You see? So he's writing every move, he's writing every breath, he's writing every heartbeat. You see? So he's never ever inattentive towards us. Never inattentive towards us. It is our attention that wanders, it is our identification that gets caught up in Maya. But he is always with us. So you never have to worry about having his attention. Even if you want to hide from him, we can't. You see, suppose you say, no, I don't want his attention. Now, I don't want him to see me like this. But he sees us, he knows us. And that might sound a bit fearful initially, but actually it's a great reassurance that this loving, kind, merciful Father is always with us, and even if he has to chop us down in some way, it is for our own good. It is for our own good, and we need that tough medicine when those things happen. So just try to remain with him with all your attention. You never have to ask for his attention actually. He loves us so much that he's constantly with us. So, and this man on the outside is just a representative of his presence within yourself, and a very tame, lame representative as far as representatives go. But this much I can tell you for certain, that he's always with you. You never have to clamor for his love, for his attention. You see, because actually what is behind the children's need for attention, it is just the need to be loved, isn't it? It is, even though we may say that even if it's anger, I don't mind, but actually we feel like we belong, that we are there, that he cares about us through this instrument of external seeming attention for now. But once you notice that actually it is really about your attention being with him, that he is always with us. Like we were saying earlier, God has never turned us away saying, I am busy right now, though you can't be with me. So he's always available to us, always present for us. So it's good. Good you shared this sort of frustration and tantrum that happens with you, and it happens with a lot of my children in the Sangha as well, besides my biological children. So uh, it's very sweet, and may this get converted into your deepening of your attention towards God. You see, because the mind always flips things around. So if you really notice, He is always with us. His attention is always with us. And I mean it very literally, that He knows every heartbeat, every breath, much more than we can ever know. He knows about us. So just trust that and keep going with your sadhana, with your prayer. I'm fully with you in this. Very good. And don't get affected by other reports. You see, I'm sure all of us at some level feel there are times where things are just shanti shanti, and there are times where that frustration comes and that anger comes. So, just like you can't believe everything you see on Instagram. Everybody has their ups and downs, so don't feel like others are winning some competition or something like that. There's no competition like that. It's not a race. Just bless everyone, pray for everyone, love everyone. Yes.
Father,
Yeah,
one more thing. Can you uh, pray for my older cousin?
yeah. What is their name?
Salil.
Say again, Khalil?
Salil.
Salil, okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you, Father. Thank you.
So welcome.
Bye-bye.
You're welcome. Okay, let's go to Aniko. What is the serious question?
Thank you so much, Ananta-ji. I'm so sorry to come up again with nothing really to say. And you answered all the question I wanted
No,
to
but this
ask,
time
really.
she may not laugh that much because she didn't start off that seriously. It's when she starts off very seriously that she go into that laughter. No? Now she's not looking that serious today. The room is expecting a repeat performance.
Ananta-ji, I tell you, it's like, it is not me who is laughing. It's really
you're
feels
not
like you step into me somehow, and it is you push me out, and it is somehow your spirit to. I don't know, even when you ask who is the one who, what to do with the one who built itself up during the week, and that time when you are laughing in me, it is so funny, even the thought that there is anything reality of this one. And still, week by week, something building up itself. And there is so much tools, Anantaji. You give to us so much tools to our hand to return back to God. But but nothing is like your presence. And I was so long time, I was kind of like, um, I said to myself, it's not fair. I cannot be always with Ananta-ji like others in the Sangha, always sitting there. And now, today I understood. Somebody said it is like a grace to be with you, and after we have to do the work, we have to even do the effort, and it is like this. And I just understand, because always there was a fight inside me to against this, that my karma is not like this and my destiny why is not like this, and and still I came just to tell this. And yes, Ananta-ji,
Very good. Very good.
again just for a little bit of attention.
That's good. That's good. Chan. Very good. So through the rest of the week, yes, it is upon us to remain empty or to remain constantly in our prayer, or both, or either, but not leave God for even a moment. That should be the intention. If our intention deeply is that we must not leave God even for a moment, then we may leave Him a lot of the time still, but at least our commitment is to be with Him fully, truly. You see, but if we don't commit like that, then we are just allowing the mind, the Maya, to have its way with us. You see, and then what happens is that then our spirituality just becomes a once in a week type thing, or during the satsang type thing, that we are being empty in satsang, we are being prayerful in satsang, we are being loving towards God in satsang. But during the rest of our life, it is seemingly running on autopilot, but actually running in the oppression of the mind. So, yeah, so it is for us to just keep like that, be empty, be praying throughout the week as well. Don't worry, if laughter is coming, it's fine. Don't worry. Tried to control it a lot there. I was answering seriously, so she tried to control herself, but it's okay.
Thank you.
On behalf of everyone, thank you. When I spent a few years in Delhi growing up. So in Delhi, we used to have this amusement park called Apughar. I don't know if all of you know. So there was this laughing man machine, no, in the Apughar. So you have to put some money, and then that machine would start laughing, 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 and everybody, all of us would laugh listening to that. So you're getting the benefit of that without having to buy the ticket. It's natural for this. Everybody has a different way in which the release happens. So it's whichever way it is happening naturally is completely fine. Okay, let's go to Karunamai.
Hello, Father.
Hello, my dear.
Thank you.
Okay, welcome.
I think I'm the crying type.
Yes. Crying is fine too.
I know. It just came to me it came to me a few minutes ago that he actually puts this love in my heart and the joy to be with him. And it's not my poor practice or commitment or something I'm doing.
Yeah.
It's
We are so
just
lucky. We are so lucky that that is the case. Because suppose his love, his joy, his peace, his light came as a result of our doing, I don't feel like any of us, especially this man, would be capable of that doing. So we are very blessed that in our innocent crying like a child, in our innocent calling out to his love, like a child calls out to their mother, he recognizes that he graces us because if I had to do it, I feel like all of us would fail at doing it. But that innocence, that helpless longing to be with him, must never be clouded in our pride, in our lack of faith, in our absence of the feeling of servitude towards him, of devotion towards him. But whether his presence is felt, his love is felt, all that is a product of grace. But our job is to keep setting the table like Ma Shabri for decades, setting the path for Ram to come, in spite of the whole world thinking, believing that she is mad or stupid. So our job is to set the table for the guest to come. When he comes is up to him. But we have to set the best table for him with our faith, humility, gratitude, love, obedience.
I also sense that when I don't when I'm complacent or lazy, I attract some sort of energies which are then requiring lots of practice to clean out, if it makes sense.
Yes.
And
Don't worry so much about the energy. It's just even, let's call it a sense of disconnection from our heart. You see, which happens whether we like it or not when we are focused on Maya, on this realm of appearances. When we give it reality, then we feel the sense of disconnection from him in our heart, although intellectually we know that without his light nothing can ever appear, but that is no longer our living experience, is just a conceptual idea. So when we experience that feeling of disconnection, we never know when his grace is upon us again and we feel that sense of connection with him again. You see, but we can only keep setting the table for him over and over. That is why it's best, and we must make the full commitment to not leave, because once he is here, he never leaves. We leave, you see, and that is the power of his own Maya, that it is so compelling that we become complacent about his presence, and we say he can wait, our other thing is more important at the moment. But he never leaves us once he comes. So once he is with you, then just allow yourself to be fully dissolved in his light so you never leave him. You see? But when you do, then just try to swim back home as fast as you can using the tools that Satsang has provided to you.
Can I ask you something which is practical in a way, like from the practice? Like, sometimes after contemplation or sleepiness comes, and sometimes I resist to it, and I go for a walk and do some. I pray during my walks. If I sleep, then this energy, this dullness comes, and I don't know how to overcome that. Or
Yes. This we will be guided in our heart moment to moment, because many times we are not able to distinguish. Sometimes a deep samadhi may be setting in, but the mind will say, but you're going to sleep. But your heart can guide you, because many times it's also sleep and laziness. So we can't make a template and say you must always do this. So you're doing your sadhana, which is good. Whether God is pulling you deeply within your heart and the world seems to be dissolving, and that to the mind can seem like sleep is coming, or whether you really just, like, there's a lethargic energy about it and it is falling asleep. You see, both these things are quite different, but in the play of the world they seem quite similar. To the mind they seem the same. So you have to rely on your heart guidance, on the Sadguru presence, which will tell you to stay alert and attentive. And on other times where you're being pulled into a deeper samadhi, then it'll allow you to just let go of the world and let go of everything. So it's impossible to give you a cookie cutter answer, sort of, to say which is which. You have to check for yourself.
I'm more afraid of the lethargic energy, rather than the samadhi.
That can be helped because even when you go to sleep at night, no, you have to sleep for
Yeah.
some time. So we don't know what all adventures we will encounter in our consciousness in those realms that we call dreams. We don't know what experiences and how many millions of years of time may be experienced in those states. So those things we can't help. So, but what we can do is the first thing when we wake up, don't engage with the world, don't engage with anything till we fully come back to the presence of God. And if it is taking time, then spend the whole day waiting for His presence to become palpable before you start engaging with things of the world.
When you were saying, yeah.
Sorry, my daughter just needed
Idea.
that attention.
I heard her laughing voice. Yeah.
As you deepen in your sadhana in the waking state, then you won't, after you wake up from sleep, you won't be so deadened by the energy, whatever the energy
Yeah.
may be.
Yeah. There was a Romanian sage who was saying that he was sleeping with his hands on his head to protect himself during sleep.
Sweet. That's whatever works for whoever is good.
I don't know.
You want to try that? You can.
I could.
But there's also the nature of mind to give us, put us into like these tight spots with seemingly uncontrollable problems. But really, the question is during the rest of the time where this energy is not so lethargic, when you're not feeling so dull from it or deadened from it, then are you fully with God? That is important. You see, so work on that part first, then we'll tackle this thing. You see, otherwise the mind will take away even those times where you're not that oppressed by these energies and worrying about all of that. Instead, be fully with God in all the other times. Then let's see what happens. Yes. Whatever tools you have at your disposal, whatever aspect of your being you have at your disposal, use that to serve God in the rest of the time. Then all this will get wiped clean.
Amen. Thank you.
Very welcome, my child. Bless you.
Thank you so much, Father.
Very welcome.
Thank you.
Very good. Very good.
I also want to share something, a story.
Yes, yes.
When I was in Australia, there was Sanjana from Sahaja who was going through some difficult moments.
I see.
Then Sahaja organized like a prayer kind of day in Shiva Mandir. So it came to my heart that I can organize a Zoom session with the Australian Sangha to pray for her. And we did that. And yeah, it was so beautiful and full of light.
Very good. Very good.
Then I invited the Sangha if they want to have like a regular prayer meeting.
Yeah.
And there is a sister who comes to your satsang as well, Avital, who joins this prayer meeting. It's just the two of us. And
What
it's
is the
just
last
the
one?
I said it's just the two of us
Just the two of you. Acha.
these days that we are joining regularly on Saturday evening Australia time.
Yeah.
And she brought your prayers in the meeting. She brought the Vega Seventh and then the Jesus prayer. And it's so beautiful, and it's very powerful to be together. And it's many times, Jesus says, when two or three are gathering in my name, I'm with you.
Yeah.
It feels it feels it's very true in these meetings. And
Very good. Very good. Very good. Full love and blessings to all of you who gather in God's name and Guruji's name. Full blessings.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
You're welcome. Let's go to Radhesham ji.
Ram, Father.
It's a full
Thank you,
satsang to
Father.
meet him. Because you say Radhesham first, then you say Ram Ram. It's like a full satsang. Very good. Very good. क्या आप वो हिंदी वाले सत्संग सुन
थैंक
रहे
यू
हैं
फॉर
जो
आपने
मैं
हिंदी
डाल रहा हूँ?
हाँ उसी के बारे में बात कर रहा था, सुन रहा था, अच्छा लगा, बहुत बढ़िया।
वेरी गुड, वेरी गुड। बहुत अच्छे सत्संग।
मुझे ऐसा लगा जैसे आपने ही मुझे आदेश कर रहे हैं जैसे।
बहुत अच्छा, बहुत अच्छा। वेरी गुड, वेरी गुड। Let's go. Let's go to Sido.
Namaste, beloved Ananta-Ji.
Namaste, my dear.
Namaste, beloved Sangha. I have a humble request.
Yes.
My university teacher is sincere devotee of Sri Ramana, just going through the terminal phase. Her body is going through the terminal phase. And if I can show her picture, and I could ask you and Sangha for a prayer and blessing for her body.
Please do. And please share her name as well, so we pray.
Mansa Kushir. Mansa is her name.
Mansa? Mansa?
Mansa. Thank you so much, beloved Father. Thank you so much, beloved Sangha.
Thank you. Let's go to Samia with some familiar faces from Bangalore. Karmendra and Sangeeta with her.
Hi, Father.
Hello.
Can you hear me well?
Yes, yes, yes.
Oh, okay. Thank you, Father, for this gift.
Very welcome. Very welcome. You
Yeah.
said you wanted to come to Bangalore, so we sent Bangalore to you.
Yeah, I saw it. It just happened so fast. Yes. So yeah, always answering prayer and just so immediately.
Always
Thank
good.
you. Yeah.
Very good. Very good. So where are you all right now? Look like you're
In a
both
cafe?
in a cafe. Okay.
Yes, for Satsang, we have come to a cafe.
Very good.
Sorry, Father, I just felt so much burning, and that's why I wanted to come. Yeah. Yeah, it was all good till Satsang, but I know what it is about, but I don't know if I want to open that up again. But it's just so clear in my heart what it is.
See, his grace has already shown you that he's with you, he's blessing you so much, and how he hears every intention that you have. So just keep your faith in him and allow it to unfold in his light, in his love. I'm with you in your heart as well, and you're with me here as well.
Still burning.
It's okay. It's okay. Where are the kids?
There.
Okay. They must be super bored by now. They've gone all the way to Turkey. Over there also satsang, satsang, satsang.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I didn't ask your parents to do this.
we will enjoy after Satsang, Father.
Yeah.
Just little bit
Sure,
patient.
give them a good time after this.
Yes, yes, we will. And we will give us a good time as well.
Yes. Very good, very good, very good.
Thank you. Sorry, it became a little bit emotional meeting, not
No, it's
so
fine.
joyful with Satsang, but yeah.
Completely fine. It's always welcome. Thank you.
Thank you. Love you, Father.
Okay, let's go to Jason.
Namaste, Father.
Namaste, my dear. Namaste.
I just want to say hello, and I want to expose something because I feel now to expose that I sometimes feel some doubt towards you because lately you sometimes say things like you have to wait for 2 years until you can find results, and Guruji always said it's now, and you don't wait. And so, but today I feel your love very much, and thank you, and I feel I trust you and I love you.
Oh, I love you. Thank you for sharing that. It's very sweet, actually. Yes. The true insight, the highest insight about who we are is always now. Now. To hand over our existence, our life to God, we cannot say, I will do it tomorrow or I will do it in 2 years. That's also now. It has to be now. So, what do I mean when I say 2 years you have to wait? Is because when we are learning to live in the heart, we are learning this process of moment to moment being in His presence, in His light. Then the mind comes up with the progress reports, with pride saying, yes, see, I did it, or with guilt saying, oh, it's not working for me, nothing is happening, I'm not feeling God's light, all of that. So, both instant insight, instant devotion, when looked at in the process of a human life, the mind can trick us by making us proud or making us frustrated and saying that nothing is happening. So be instantaneous for at least 2 years before we make any sort of conclusions about whether our spirituality is working or not. So right now, but don't judge. Don't allow the checker guy to say, yes, it's working, I'm free, or no, it's not working, it will not happen for me. You see? And both these phases come to, the mind uses both of these. So instead of getting caught in that, we get distracted by that progress reporting and worrying about the me, instead of just in the moment staying with God. You see? So just be with God moment to moment, every moment. Yes, it is in an instant, but let's not worry about some conclusion, some final result for this one. At least for 2 years, let us settle deeply in our prayer, let us settle deeply in our inquiry, in our open and empty, before we make any conclusions about our progress or lack of progress. Thank you. It's very sweet of you to bring that up. It can seem like a big contradiction to the mind, of course, and I'm well aware of that.
And also, I know you have heard this before, but with prayer you offer the Atma Darshan Samadhi. Sometimes I do it, but I like it. But the part with the sinner, I still feel uncomfortable with, because it feels like a judgmental concept, like you sinner.
You can probably
something
share
like to say I'm a no one. I don't know anything. But say sinner, it feels uncomfortable.
Yes, and we're sharing now, but when this prayer first came like this, most of the Sangha was resisting it and saying, oh, but this sinner concept is full of too much guilt, and it's I don't want to call myself a sinner, and I'm not a sinner, God loves me fully, all this thing. So I try to clarify for most of them, and I feel like we're starting to get a sense of what that word actually implies. So if you were to say Okay, let's forget about the word sin for a moment. Let's say on the path of spirituality, what is the error of our ways that we are going to change or we are trying to change? There must have been some error in our ways. We must be taking ourselves to be someone that we are not. We must be trying to live in our individual will. Our mind's oppression must be seeming like freedom to us. So, a lot of this misunderstanding about who we are and therefore then what our life should be like, how we should live, all of these errors we make before we come to the refuge of a true master who can guide us and show us that these ways will get us more and more involved in avidya, in the false, in maya, which is just the realm of appearances. But there is a correction of those ways which are possible, and you can live in the way of the heart. There's another way to live. So that error of taking ourselves to be something that we are not, and taking our individual want and will to be higher than God's will, you see, is what has been called sin, pap, in Indian spirituality as well as in Christian and other world religions. It is the same thing. In fact, in India, some of the greatest sages have called themselves Mahapapi, Mahagyani, which means great sinners, greatly deluded ones. You see, mostly from the Bhakti tradition, where like sages like Tulsidas ji, Surdas ji have said that मैं मूर्ख कल खामी, Mahapapi, Mahagyani, all of these things, meaning I am the great foolish one, the great sinner, the great one who has taken conceptual knowledge to be true knowledge. Why do they say that? In fact, if we were to look at this error making, they were probably the ones who were making this error the least. You see? They were doing this, what we are calling sin, the least. And yet they were calling themselves the greatest sinner. So, in one of the satsangs, I heard that Gandhiji himself, Mahatma Gandhi, said that what happened with them is that their benchmark itself changed. Where to go with their individual will, even for one moment, seemed too much away from God's light. And in that contrition, in that repentance, in that noticing of their error, they said that I am the greatest fool, I am the greatest sinner, and I beg for your mercy, I beg for your forgiveness. So, if making this error of going with our individual way, living on our own mind's terms, instead of waiting for God's will to move us and guide us, is the traditional definition of sin, then I have to say that I haven't met anyone, especially this man who is speaking these words, who is not a sinner in those in the way the original term was meant. So it is very important for me, myself, in my prayer, and to suggest to all of those who follow my words to some extent, to remind them to admit our fault, our error, and that injects a dose of great humility in our prayer. And I know that many of you will still not like the word, may not even follow this, because there may be some childhood conditioning, some aversion to this kind of thing, and I completely understand it. Maybe many years ago I may not have liked this word as well, but I can only offer, I cannot force any of you to take it, or I cannot enter you during your prayer, at least in a physical way, and check whether you're saying a sinner or not. You see, so as long as you're praying, it's still good. But I have to share with authenticity what I feel has helped this one and what I feel will help all of you the most. Now, nobody can force a gift on another one. You see, I can just offer. So, follow as much as you feel in your heart, and then your Antaratma, the Atma within, the Holy Spirit within, will guide you as to how to take it forward. You see, and it's very much completely possible that I'm being foolish as usual. So maybe I'm completely mistaken about this word. So I'm open to that conclusion as well. It's highly likely with the amount of foolishness I do every day, it will not be a surprise. You see, so don't worry. What I'm saying is just follow your heart, pray in the best way that you can, and in the way that brings you to His presence, to Ma's presence behind you. She's watching us, to her presence the most, and the rest will take care of itself.
Yeah, and also, because we're speaking, so this leaving God's presence, sometimes it's very painful, as you say, that when some distraction comes, like I go to YouTube and see some videos and I don't know about it, but it feels not good, and it's painful to leave God's presence. So please bless me that I may always be in God's presence and
full
in His light. Always think of Him.
May you remain always in His light, in His love. Full blessing is there.
Thank you.
Yes, yes. Thank you for sharing openly, and it's very good when we can speak like this, and it doesn't leave anything hidden. You see? So the mind doesn't have ammunition to play with. It's out in the open, and we can just present our perspectives to each other, and then grace has to unfold in the way grace has to unfold. But I'm very glad you came up and you just shared like that. It's very good. Very good. Yes, yes. Very good. Let's go to Leila.
Can you hear me okay?
Yes, it's good now. Yes.
I've not been in your satsang before, and I didn't think I'd speak, but this is so beautiful. And I just feel it's easy sometimes to feel very disciplined when I hear you or hear Guruji, to feel like this is it. I won't go back into I won't believe another thought or something. And then maybe I step out and I see other people seem to be acting a little personal, and I think seems okay for them, a little bit like that.
Yeah.
And I live with Sangha. I live in San Martinho in Portugal, so I feel like so then I think, oh well, the Sangha seem okay. Just do it. Oh, I'm not judging anybody. I'm just saying. I'm just kind of hoping to expose it and kind of ask for that blessing, that I don't think to act differently or to start being having an audience of other people. I really found what was shared today very like everything I needed to hear.
Very good. Very good.
And so beautiful. And it's always like that.
So nice. Welcome to Satsang here, and I'm so happy that it touched your heart in some way. just feel free to share whatever you feel. Sometimes you may feel that there's something that stops you from being in God's presence. Sometimes you may feel that you're trying something which is really helping you. It may inspire the others also. It may inspire me. I may learn something in the process as well. So just feel at home and feel free to share what you feel is helping you, what you feel gets in your way at times. And I'm very happy to meet you in this way. And may God and Guruji bless you so deeply. May you always shine in their light. Yes. All right, let's go back to. Did you want to come up again, Samya? No, okay, I have. Okay, let's go to Devi.
Hello.
Hello, my dear.
Sorry to come so late. I just felt I wanted just to say hello and just put myself out. And yeah.
Very good. You can always do that, and you never have to worry about the time and things like that. See, if I'm too tired, then I'll tell you all. Don't have to worry. It's very good.
Yeah.
You want to give me some quick report about how it's going for you?
Well, yeah, it's like every Friday I feel inspired and I start like with a fresh energy, and then on the week sometimes I get a bit stuck, and yeah.
Well, that's part of my job. That's part of my job to try and reinvigorate the sadhana, to inspire all of you to deepen. Yes, that's why we have satsang. So it's good. It's good. It's good.
Yeah, I have to say sometimes it really feels very difficult still, and even praying sometimes I get stuck because there's so much I don't know how to say, negativity, strong energies inside, and I pray and sometimes it gets worse and I'm like, oh my god, what to do? I don't know. And sometimes I give up because of that, I have to say, like.
Yes, I can understand. I can understand that the realm of Maya, the play of the mind, wants to keep us away from the prayer, so it will seem like things get amplified or more difficult at times. But know that He is always with you and He knows your intention always. So if you're praying to Him, it is never unheard. He's always aware of your intention to be with Him. And I'm very happy, I'm very proud of you that in spite of all this attack, you still keep at it and you come to satsang every Friday. It is...
Well, I have to say sometimes I give up and I even feel, many times I feel I don't want to come, but then I come and I see actually it's so much helping, and I don't know, it's grace that I keep coming, really.
It is grace that makes satsang happen also. That I notice that many times on Friday, in Maya, the body starts feeling ill. All these things happen here also, and somewhere, many times this sense comes that okay, maybe today we can cancel satsang But just grace makes it, happen, and I feel so good during satsang time. So it plays with all of us in these ways. So in that way, we're all in this together, facing the same resistances and things. So just like this, keep at it, and His grace is taking care. Is going to bless you more and more. Your love is going to deepen more and more. It's very good. Good that you don't give up. That's the important thing. That's the important thing. And there are times where we give up, but then to get up next day and start again is important, you see. So it can feel like a struggle sometimes.